So I've created a How to Fix Nerves plan. It consists of 5 parts. This is part 2. It works fine on its own, but it works best with all the others. I hope it helps you. Okay, so in order to understand strategy 2, we need to first get our heads around this. This is Professor Csikszentmihalyi's mental state flow model. And we are currently in anxiety, which is a horrible place to be, and we want to move to flow, which is a lovely place to be. If you've ever been doing something that you're really into and suddenly realised, where did the last 2 hours go? Then you've been in a state of flow. If you've ever been focusing on something so hard that you skip a meal and don't even realise it, then you are in a state of flow. Csikszentmihalyi actually figured this out by studying artists and noticed that they went out to a field and were painting and didn't drink for 3 hours, and it was really odd. He couldn't figure out why. It's because they're in a state of what he called flow. We don't call it flow so much now. We tend to call it in the zone, or firing on all cylinders, or mindfulness actually is a very modern term for it. Now there's a wrong way to move away from anxiety, and I'll briefly talk about that. I see young people do this all the time. If I put them in a difficult, stressful situation where they have to perform, they sometimes say to me, well, instead of singing, sir, can I play the tambourine in the dark, off stage, quietly? And what they're doing there is they're removing the challenge. Now, although that gets you away from anxiety, it doesn't help you very much. We've taken everything of value out of the task. We're not learning anything by doing that. We certainly aren't getting better at singing. And we've replaced the difficult thing, the challenge, with something that we knew we were already good at. And it's interesting because students, if you let them do this, there's no value in it for them either. They just think it's pointless. It is. They've ended up in a place called apathy, where they don't care. It's not a great place to be either. So, instead of doing it that way, we need to do it the other way. We need to leave the challenge where it is. And what do we need to do? Well, the clue is at the bottom of the diagram. We need to get better. As better as we can. We could first use strategy 1 to realise how good we really are, and that might do half the work for us, but then we probably need to do a little bit more. We need to get so good at this, whatever it is, song, let's say, that when we're performing it, we're hardly thinking about what we're playing. Parts of your brain should be on autopilot when you are performing, okay? In fact, most of the parts to do with the playing of the song should be on autopilot. That means you don't need to practice a song until it's good. You need to practice it until you're barely thinking about it when you do it. So here's a few things you can do. First of all, video your rehearsals and watch those videos to figure out what it is you need to be practicing. That will focus your practice a lot more on the things that need focusing on, and you will get better a lot quicker, which is great for motivation. But it's also great for getting better. I warm up for 10-15 minutes and then I do technical exercises, not songs. I might spend 30 minutes on those. And they are hard, they are challenging, they are constantly pushing me to do something that's difficult. A song won't necessarily do that. A song might have 1 or 2 difficult moments in it, but generally speaking it's quite easy. And practicing a song is much more fun, but you're not going to get better as fast as if you just were to isolate all those difficult bits and do those. Technical exercises do that for you. They're boring, but they're really, really good for you. After I've been practicing for about 40 minutes then, a warm up and half an hour of technical exercises, I then switch to doing songs. And when I practice a song, if I come across a difficult bit, I stop and I go back and I fix that difficult thing. I might slow it down. I might work out what it is that I'm doing wrong and change it. I might figure out the best way of doing it, or I might just hammer at it until I can do it. Once I can do it, I keep doing it over and over again until it's more of a habit for me to do it right than it is to do it wrong. I might do it 30 times. It depends how big a mistake it was. Then I play the whole song again and see if I can sail through it without worrying about it. And by doing it that way, the next time I practice that song, that problem has usually been solved, and I might discover another one, or that song might go on the, hey, it's sorted out shelf. You can also play songs faster than they're supposed to be. It gives you less time to think. It almost makes you panic. And if you can get through the song correctly when you're playing it too fast, That usually means when you slow it back down again, it feels easier. You've got more time to think. You can also practice a song more slowly than normal because that makes you really hyper aware of all the little details, makes you very, very accurate. It's harder on the breathing for a singer as well. You want to end up in a position where when you're performing, most of the playing of the song is on autopilot. It's just happening. Think about walking down the road and having a conversation on the phone with your friend. You're not thinking about the walking. There is enough brain power left over to have this conversation. You need to get the singing, the playing, the performing, whatever it is, to be as easy as walking. And then you'll have loads of brain power left to deal with the lights that are shining in your eyes, the audience talking, the drummer being too loud, drummers, and all of that stuff, rather than standing up there trying to deal with all that and remember how the song goes. One last little tip, have your crib sheets ready. Don't just write the words out, have little notes like, hey, this one you need to slow down and breathe here, that kind of stuff, so that you don't have to remember it all. You don't want to make it harder than it already is. The gig is already challenging. You don't want to make the singing challenging as well. Right, get practicing. More next week. Strategy 3 next week. See you then.